Shane Dawson was forced to apologize for his docu-series on Jake Paul, where in the second episode he sits down with a therapist to discuss the possibility of Jake Paul being a sociopath. But the video didn't exactly sit well with a lot of people, and Shane had to respond to the criticism he was getting in a lengthy Snapchat video. I'm gonna tell you everything you need to know right now on IO. What is happening, people? This is InformOverload, where we keep you up to date on everything that's happening on the internet. I'm Charlotte Joubray, and if you need a place to get your news on YouTube, smash that subscribe. You should also follow us on social media. Our links are posted down below. So what do you guys think of the Shane series on Jake Paul so far? Let me know in those comments. For those who haven't been following along, in the second episode of Shane Dawson's documentary series on Jake Paul, Shane sits down with therapist and YouTuber Katie Morgan, and they break down the symptoms of a sociopath. And they sort of attempt to figure out whether or not Jake Paul is a sociopath. A sociopath, as defined by the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, is someone with antisocial personality disorder. So you know that little voice in your head that tells you when something that you're doing is wrong? Yeah, that's your conscience. Most people have one. Around 1 in 25 people are sociopaths. A sociopath is someone with a weak conscience, meaning that they might know that something is wrong, but they do it anyway. It means they lack empathy. Sociopaths are manipulative, often really likable, charismatic people, which makes it really hard to tell if someone is a sociopath. It's often the person that you least expect. A psychopath, on the other hand, also has antisocial personality disorder, but does not have a conscience at all. And they feel even less empathy for other people than a sociopath. A sociopath is not a psychopath. And I think a lot of people are getting the two confused after watching Shane's documentary series. And to make matters worse, people are literally taking the talking points from Shane's discussion with the therapist, and they're starting to diagnose other people, like their friends and other YouTubers. And they've never even met these YouTubers in real life. Guys, don't do that. Unless you're a professional, you shouldn't diagnose other people or yourself. So the second episode of Shane's docu-series on Jake Paul has been getting a lot of criticism from people who say that it was not sympathetic toward people with mental disorders. I mean, the entire talk was pretty dramatic, I'm not gonna lie. It had scary music, and it sort of looked like a horror film or one of those crime reenactment shows. The therapist, Katie Morgan, even seemed a bit judgmental at times toward people with mental disorders. Jesse St. John said on Twitter, "Okay, I stan Shane Dawson, but this new series creates a dangerous dynamic of unqualified people wrongly diagnosing mental disorders and dehumanizing and stigmatizing people with mental disorders. Take this as entertainment and nothing more." So to top things off, while going through every symptom, different YouTubers that display personality traits similar to a sociopath were cut into Shane's video, as sort of like a way to prompt viewers to think, oh, that person must be a sociopath because they acted this way or did something sociopathic. That's not true, guys. If that were true, then we'd all be sociopaths. Shane did say in a disclaimer that he was, quote, 100% not insinuating that any of the people shown were sociopaths, but his message didn't really seem to get through to his audience. So Shane was forced to apologize in a long Snapchat video. It was 8 or 10 minutes, which is long for Snapchat.
I'm sorry if I offended anybody. If you are offended for someone who has this or thinks they have this, I am sorry.
But in his apology video, Shane also makes the point that it's impossible for sociopaths to be offended. Sociopaths, people with antisocial personality disorder, don't have empathy and they don't care. So if a sociopath claims to be offended about his video, that means they aren't a sociopath and they don't have a reason to be offended in the first place. Shane Dawson is an empath. It's the opposite of a sociopath. Empaths feel a lot, often too much, and they bring on other people's problems as their own. Shane does take responsibility for his mistakes, and that's what he's trying to do, which is why he refilmed part 3, 4, and 5 of his series to address the concerns in part 2. I feel for Shane, man. This series on Jake Paul was bound to be controversial. It was controversial before it even got uploaded. Jake Paul fans are upset over one reason, Shane Dawson fans are upset over another. It's gonna be impossible to please everybody. As it stands right now, people haven't really talked about what a sociopath really is on YouTube, but it's not uncommon for someone to call someone a sociopath without actually knowing what it means. I think it's a good thing that Shane is shedding light on it and sort of educating people on it. But it's important that you don't jump the gun and accuse someone of being a sociopath without actually being a professional. Anyways guys, that's all I have for you on that. I have a feeling we will be chatting a lot about this topic in the coming days, so I hope you find it interesting. But for now, it's time to do some comment replies. I Feel Disturbed said, love this channel and the Potato Queen. Definitely something to look forward to in the day. Oh, I'm so glad you feel that way. Thanks for being a sub. Chenny FR said, when I was 5, I swallowed a marble. I am still living. Did you poop the marble? Joel said, you're hot. 18 male, so I'm legal. Uh-huh. Cool. The Weird Girl said, how many calories do you eat per day, Shar Shar? I am not sure. Anywhere between 1,500 to 2,000, I think, but I also walk home almost every day, especially when I've eaten a lot. and I work out 3 days a week. Alexandru says, your last name is popular in Romania. Are your parents Romanian? Yes, my dad is Romanian. Okay guys, that is all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you smash the like, subscribe, and notification bell. And by the way, if you want to keep watching, we put together a playlist for you that's right over here. It's got a bunch of videos just like this one, so definitely check that out. That is it for me, and I'll see you in the next IO video.